Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails the golden period for mobility sector in India during his Bharat Mobility Global Expo address, says aspirations of the new middle class to drive growth. Indian Navy foils another piracy attempt along east coast of Somalia, rescues 11 Iranians, 8 Pakistani crew. Amidst rising tensions with the United States, Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi says would respond strongly to bullying. In cricket, Yashasvi Jaiswal's splendid turn pars India to 336 for 6 on day one of the second test against England. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India is moving forward with the vision of a developed nation by 2047. He said to achieve this goal, the mobility sector is going to play a crucial role. Addressing Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2024 at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi, Prime Minister said this is the beginning of the golden period for India's mobility sector.
Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2024, India's groundbreaking event that heralds the nation's ascent as a global hub for mobility. Starting from 1st February to 3rd February, in New Delhi, it will be the epicenter of innovation and progress in the mobility and automotive sectors. Inaugurated by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday, the Expo is set to captivate audiences with myriad of activities. Addressing the event, PM stressed that nation's economy is expanding fast and in government's third term, country is bound to become the third biggest economy in the world.
पिछले 10 साल में पैसेंजर व्हीकल्स की बिक्री में 60% की वृद्धि हुई है। भारत में टू व्हीलर सेल्स भी 70% से ज्यादा बढ़ी है। अभी कल ही जो आंकड़े आए हैं वो बताते हैं कि जनवरी के महीने में कारों की बिक्री ने अपने पिछले सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ दिए हैं।
The Bharat Mobility Expo 2024 is not just an exhibition, it's a testament to India's capabilities across the entire mobility and automotive value chains. PM added that beyond boundaries is the tagline of the Expo, which also reflects the spirit of India.
मेरी पहली टर्म थी, उस समय मैंने एक ग्लोबल लेवल की मोबिलिटी कॉन्फ्रेंस प्लान की थी और उस समय की चीजें अगर आप निकाल के देखोगे तो बैटरी पर हमारा फोकस क्यों होना चाहिए, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल की तरफ हमें कैसे जल्दी जाना चाहिए, इन सारे विषयों पर बहुत विस्तार से वो समिट हुआ था। ग्लोबल एक्सपर्ट्स आए थे और आज मेरी दूसरी टर्म में मैं देख रहा हूं कि खासी मात्रा में प्रगति हो रही है।
With over 800 exhibitors from 50 plus countries, this is where cutting-edge technologies, sustainable solutions and breakthroughs converge. Latest innovations showcased by over 1,000 brands from 13 global markets in this expo, the Bharat Mobility Global Expo is where India's mobility story unfolds, showcasing its commitment to progress, sustainability and global collaboration.
Such kind of expo organized in India is giving impetus to major as well as small scale players across the country to develop and innovate more such innovative and sustainable products here in India. And this is an expo of a scale of a global level where participants from across the globe are participating to showcase their product. With camera person Ashish, this is Dibyendu Mondal from New Delhi for DD India.
And my colleague Dibyendu Mondal is joining us live with more updates on the Expo. Dibyendu, give us a sense of how the global mobility community is congregating at the Expo in Bharat Mandapam. Dibyendu, I hope I'm audible to you. Can you hear us? We're trying to connect to our correspondent Dibyendu Model in just a bit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the Bharat Mobility Global Expo earlier today. In his address, Prime Minister spoke about the manner in which this is a golden period for the mobility sector in India, whether it is production capability, whether it is the market, the research and development in technology sector. Prime Minister said that the opportunities available are diverse for the sector. He also focused on the manner in which indigenous technology, indigenous innovation and also local materials could be extensively used in the automobile and mobile sector as a whole. He spoke about the key takeaways of the budget as well, from where the mobility sector could benefit significantly, whether it is the capex expenditure, which is improving the overall infrastructure in the country, which has a cascading impact on the mobility sector. We'll again try and connect with our colleague Dibyendu Mondal. He is covering this expo where participants from across the world have descended. It is one of the biggest mobility expo that has taken place in the country, focusing on the future of mobility as well as far as technology is concerned. EV interventions are concerned. There is also a focus on the manner in which more cleaner fuels like hydrogen could be put to use as well. We'll check if our colleague Dibyendu Mondal is with us. We're talking about the Bharat Mobility Global Expo. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the participants at the Bharat Mobility Global Expo. And Prime Minister spoke about the manner in which the new middle class is emerging. He mentioned that thanks to the interventions of the government in the past 10 years, some 25 crore people have been lifted out of poverty. Now, these people who've been lifted out of poverty form the new middle class, and their aspirations are also going to drive the growth story of India, including the growth story of the mobility sector in the country. I guess we connected with our colleague Dibyendu Mondal now. Dibyendu, I hope I'm audible to you now. First, tell us the manner in which I asked how the global mobility community congregated at this expo in Bharat Mandapam.
Well, Shubhendu, yes, I can hear you now. The global, in fact, this was the first ever Bharat Mobility Expo that is being held at the Bharat Mandapam here in New Delhi. And this is one of a kind where, mobility aggregators, including the automotive sector and all the value chain that is linked with the automotive and mobility sector have congregated here in New Delhi. More than 50 plus countries have come here to display their innovation. One of the key aspects that I would like to draw the attention of you and all our viewers is, the government's focus towards sustainability and green mobility. So this is standing out at the Expo at Bharat Mandapam, where, not just Indian automotive makers, but also, also some of the automotive makers from across different countries that have gathered here are showcasing newer technologies, cleaner technologies that could be adopted, in fact, to make the mobility sector more greener, more sustainable, and more cleaner. Because remember, much of the pollution is caused by vehicles. So to address this challenge, we have seen e-vehicles as well as hydrogen and ethanol-powered vehicles, which are their prototypes being displayed here at Bharat Mandapam.
Right.
So the Prime Minister also spoke about it. Yes, back to you.
Yes, Dibyendu, a little more on the India story at this Expo. Prime Minister Modi appealed to the Indian mobility sector to make the most of the opportunities in the country today. How is the best of India also showcased at the Expo?
Well, of course, you see, not just the global players. I was visiting some of the expo centers, stalls where even the Prime Minister visited. We see one of our biggest giant, which is Tata Motors. They have displayed a complete different segment of electronic vehicle that have been launched in the Indian market and that are yet to be launched in the Indian market. So we also hear that some new models of more sustainable, more eco-friendly vehicles are likely to be launched by our own Indian players. Interestingly, I also visited one of the pavilion which showcased, the two-wheeler segment, which is completely made in India. Their technology, their entire ecosystem, from charging to battery to the entire ecosystem to make a two-wheeler vehicle have been developed in India, and most of which is not imported and made in India. It's just not assembled in India, but in fact made in India. So you see how India is progressing. And remember, the Prime Minister also said that we could make the most out of it, and the government and the Prime Minister himself said that
Yes.
you take a leap forward, and I am there with you. So he has given, in a sense, an assurance to the entire industry that was present at the Bharat Mandapam and listening to him that you go ahead with innovation. The Prime Minister also spoke about the 1 lakh crore fund that has been allocated for research and innovation, and he said that much of it could also be be used in the research and development of newer and sustainable technologies in the automobile sector and the mobility sector. So this is an important policy announcement, perhaps that we can take leaf from the Prime Minister's speech when we get more details of the 1 lakh crore corpus fund announced in the interim budget yesterday. We'll get more clarity on it. But in a sense, he's given indication towards the fact that this fund which has been allocated is towards research and innovation and development of more cleaner, greener and more technologically advanced mobility sector, and not just mobility but also research and innovation in other sectors as well.
Dibyendu, thank you for joining us with those updates. On to some other stories now. In a swift response, Indian Navy foiled another piracy attempt along the east coast of Somalia. Information regarding this piracy attempt on fishing vessel Omari was monitored on 31st January 2024. Indian Naval RPA, undertaking surveillance in the area, successfully located fishing vessel Omari, and INS Sharda, deployed for anti-piracy mission in the region, was diverted to intercept the boat. An Iranian flagged vessel, Omari, had been boarded by 7 pirates who had taken the crew as hostages. INS Sharda intercepted the vessel in early hours on Friday and used integral, halo and boats to force the pirates for safe release of 11 Iranian and 8 Pakistani nationals along with the boat. The ship also undertook confirmatory boarding of the fishing vehicle Omari to check on the well-being of the crew members. Union Minister for Power, New and Renewable Energy, R.K. Singh, spoke with DD India on the interim budget. He spoke about the solar rooftop scheme, offshore wind energy, and how the government is trying to accelerate its footprints in the renewable energy sector. Here's more.
I'm joined in by the Power, New and Renewable Energy Minister, R.K. Singh. Thank you so much, sir, for talking to DD India. When we talk about the government's focus in this interim budget, it is a lot on the energy sector. It is a lot on the renewable energy sector. What do you have to say about the allocations made, especially in the rooftop solar scheme?
Now, that's a major initiative. You see, what that will do will be that for all those households whose consumption is less than 300 units, their electricity will become free. What we are going to do is we are going to set up rooftops on their houses. And the householder has to do nothing. We'll go and set it up. The householder doesn't have to spend a single paisa. Right now, the subsidy for rooftop for this up to 300 units, 3 kilowatts is about 40%. We are increasing that to 60% for those who consume less than 300 units. 40% will be loaned from the bank. But that loan doesn't have to be taken by the householder. That loan will be taken by my CPSU. And that loan will be paid off by the extra units which are generated from that rooftop.
So we are talking about viability gap funding for the offshore wind. Have you earmarked places?
Yes, that's a major initiative. You see, right now, for example, in renewable energy, we had solar, we had wind, we had hydro. Now we are adding another dimension, which is offshore wind. Offshore wind has major advantages. One is that the CUF is high. It's 50% nearly about, which is very good. Each turbine is 15 megawatts, etc. And you don't need land, you have the seabed. There are two ways in which we are implementing offshore wind. One is the VGF route, which was announced by Nirmala Sitharamanji. Under that, actually the initial stages, offshore wind will cost approximately about 5 rupees 50 paise odd. That is slightly expensive, 5 rupees 50 paise to maybe 6 rupees. That's slightly expensive for discoms because their average power purchase cost is in the region of 4 rupees 50 paise. So some VGF will have to be given. So we are doing 1,000 megawatts on that, 500 megawatts off the coast of Gujarat, 500 megawatts off the coast of Tamil Nadu. Now, for Gujarat, all the survey has been done. Tamil Nadu, it's in progress. As soon as the sanction issues, we'll issue the bid for Gujarat. And thereafter, as soon as the survey is over, we'll issue the bid for Tamil Nadu.
So here we had the Power Minister and the New and Renewable Energy Minister talking to us, especially on the focus in the budget in terms of renewable energy. With camera person Kumar Datta, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from New Delhi.
Time for a short break. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Amidst rising tensions with the US, Iran's president says would respond strongly to bullying. Russia has said that it is advancing its troops in Ukraine. And French farmers end highway blockades. Trajectory of protest across Europe remains uncertain.
Our modern industrialized world is producing more toxins than ever before. Water quality across several parts of the world is getting worse.
We need to have these wastewater treatment plants.
Government is carving out localities here and there and releasing all the sewage water into these lakes.
When we analyze all this, the food, constituents of the food, had heavy metal.
With biotanks, the sewage water gets recycled. It can be used for different purposes or drained into the ground.
Shipwrecks are a major problem and airtight international rules are needed to make a difference.
To 10% of a giant ship's weight is made up of asbestos, heavy metals, oil and other toxic substances.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. The second meeting of India-Maldives high-level core group was held in New Delhi on Friday. During the meeting, both sides continued their discussions on a wide range of issues related to bilateral cooperation towards identifying steps to enhance partnership, including expediting the implementation of ongoing development cooperation projects. Both sides also agreed on a set of mutually workable solutions to enable continued operation of Indian aviation platforms that provide humanitarian and medic services to the people of Maldives. It was agreed to hold the next meeting of the high-level core group in Malé on a mutually convenient date. The first meeting of the high-level core group was held in Malé on January 14th. A day after US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that this was a dangerous moment in the Middle East, Iranian president has said that Iran will not start a war but would respond strongly, he says, to anyone who tried to bully it, while United Kingdom says it will not send ground troops into combat against Houthis in Yemen.
A day after the United States said it was planning attacks on Iranian sites in Iraq and Syria, the Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi said that Iran will not start a war but would respond strongly to anyone who tried to bully it.
We have said many times, we will not initiate any war. But if anyone wants to bully, Iran will respond firmly. Before, whenever they wanted to talk to Iran, like other countries, they said military option is on the table. Now you do not hear these words anymore. They even say we have no intention of any conflict with Iran.
Tension in the region had escalated on Thursday after US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said United States would have a multi-tiered response to the deadly attack in Jordan that killed US troops.
So this is a dangerous moment in the Middle East. We will continue to work to avoid a wider conflict in the region. But we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our interests, and our people. And we will respond when we choose, where we choose, and how we choose.
US President Joe Biden blamed Iran-backed Houthi groups operating in Syria and Iraq for Sunday's drone strike on a remote Jordan desert base near Syria and Iraq that killed 3 US forces. On Thursday, the United Kingdom said that Britain will not send ground troops into combat against Houthi militants in Yemen.
We have no plans whatsoever to put boots on the ground. What we have done in conjunction with our allies, and particularly the United States, is undertake targeted, proportionate action, which we strongly believe is in line with international law in order to achieve self-defense.
Attacks by Yemen's Houthi militants on ships in the Red Sea are disrupting maritime trade. Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, Arsenio Dominguez, has condemned the attacks on international ships in the Red Sea.
I want to condemn the attacks on international shipping, and in particular the negative effect that it has on innocent seafarers. The people that are out there making possible that 80% of global trade transported by ships can reach its destination.
Since January, United States and Britain have hit Houthi targets in Yemen with airstrikes following months of Houthi attacks on the commercial and navy ships in the Red Sea. Fuzal Ahmed reporting for DD India.
A day after EU's deal to extend new $54 billion aid to Ukraine, Russia has said its troops are advancing on Ukrainian front. EU funding has come as a huge comfort for Ukraine at a time when Kiev was struggling to find artillery rounds for its war with Russia. Meanwhile, Hungarian Prime Minister, who earlier opposed the deal till Thursday, said he went to the wall while agreeing to the deal. More in this report.
The European Union's $54 billion funding for Ukraine has come as a huge comfort at a time when Kyiv was struggling to find artillery rounds for its war with Russia. This money will boost Ukraine's long-term economic and financial stability as well as military support. A day after the agreement, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said that Russian forces are making progress on the Ukrainian front. He said this while addressing military leaders and officials from the Defense Ministry.
After the failure of the enemy's counteroffensive, the Russian armed forces retained the strategic initiative along the entire line of combat contact. Our units are moving forward, expanding their control zones and improving their positions along the front line. During the active operations in the Kupiansk, Krasnodar and Donetsk directions, the settlements of Vezel, Krokmalny and Tabaivka were rebelated.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin will discuss the conflict in Ukraine with his Turkish counterpart Tayyip Erdogan during his upcoming visit to Turkey. The Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who has been consistently pressing to review the deal, said on Friday that he went to the wall for his country before agreeing to the EU deal and outlined the reason.
I had gone to the wall, so I can say that if this deal had not been reached and Hungary would have continued to use its right to veto, and then 26 member states would have agreed to send money to Ukraine, which I could not prevent, and would have taken away the funds earmarked for Hungary and sent that to Ukraine as well. Why would that have been good?
Meanwhile, European farmers have protested against Ukrainian agricultural imports and expressed their deep dissatisfaction with the EU's indifference to the declining economy, reduced incomes and rising prices. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
Russia has said it is advancing its troops in Ukraine as per Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu in a video footage that was released on Friday. Shoigu was seen making his remarks at a meeting of the country's top defense ministry officials and military commanders. While Moscow says its forces have regained the initiative in many areas after a failed Ukrainian counteroffensive, taking control of the settlements of Vezel in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region and Kroman and Tabivka in the country's Kharkiv region. Moving on, European farmers' protest covering diverse issues prompted French President Emmanuel Macron to propose a joint EU mechanism. Although French farmers ended highway blockades, the future trajectory of protest across Europe remains uncertain. Here's more.
Farmers' protests have proliferated across Europe, encompassing diverse concerns. the upheaval has brought to light underlying tensions regarding the agricultural sector's influence on the EU's commitment to combat climate change, as well as the potential influx of Ukrainian imports. Amidst the crisis, French President Emmanuel Macron has called for a joint mechanism by EU to guarantee fair prices retailers and food giants pay to producers. France has obtained protection measures that will help French farmers in case of unfair competition.
The world is changing, and so we have to have more simple agricultural policies that further takes into consideration the need to produce more, which of course integrates our environmental goals, but which does so while preserving fair competition, preserving the revenues of farmers, and preserving our food sovereignty.
French farmers have ended highway blockades after government announced to offer them more protection and extra aid, following a call from the main farmer union leaders to lift disruptions that lasted over 2 weeks.
Now, we are going to take a break. We will certainly discuss everything that has been proposed. We also expect a lot from Emmanuel Macron in relation to Europe, and precisely these free trade agreements and Green Deal, which leads us to this loss of production and this loss of agriculture.
Given the entreaty from select French unions, the pivotal query surfaces. What trajectory will the protests across Europe follow after French farmers have opted to dismantle their blockade?
Well, farmers have been here in the streets of Brussels blocking traffic, blocking most of the main avenues, and they've been here all day outside of the European Parliament. You see they've lit 2 bonfires. Those have been burning all day. These farmers here to express their anger, their frustration with what they say are rising production costs and falling prices for their products. They say that their way of life, their businesses will not be sustainable in the months to come. They will need more support from the government. That is the message. Alex Kadier in Brussels reporting for DD India.
North Korea fired multiple cruise missiles off its west coast on Friday, marking the 4th time in just over a week that Pyongyang launched such missiles off both coasts. The South's military said the launch took place around 200 GMT, did not provide further details. North Korea has said since last week it had tested strategic cruise missiles, implying they may be designed to carry nuclear warheads. South Korea's military has said the North appeared to be testing missiles to upgrade their capabilities. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Tens and thousands of passengers were grounded on Thursday as airport security staff across Germany staged a walkout. A total of 25,000 airport staff have walked off job across Germany. Over 1,100 flights were cancelled in over 11 airports, including Frankfurt, country's busiest, and Berlin. The walkout, called by the country's trade union Verdi, is part of a series of strikes in Europe's largest economy. Protesting farmers on their tractors blocked the border between Belgium and the Netherlands on Friday. The farmers blocked several border crossings between the countries as they continued to prevent trucks entering or leaving the port of Zeebrugge. The port handles car imports and some fresh produce from the United Kingdom and elsewhere. 3 people were killed, more than 200 injured in a massive fire that a truck laden with gas exploded in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The explosion ignited a huge ball of fire that spread widely, which damaged several vehicles, residential properties on Friday. Police cordoned off the affected area. Firefighters battled to control the blaze. Turkey's authorities on Friday arrested 25 suspects in connection with shooting of a man at a church in Istanbul on 28th January. 2 of the suspects previously captured by police are believed to be tied to Islamic State. 25 suspects were charged with membership of an illegal organization and aggravated intentional homicide. Time for a short break. Still to come on DD India News Hour. We talk about the highlights of Bharat Mobility Global Expo and Prime Minister Modi's address. Indian Air Force to conduct mega exercise Vayu Shakti in Jaisalmer. And India's former President Ramnath Kovind chairs meeting on One Nation, One Election.
Our modern industrialized world is producing more toxins than ever before. Water quality across several parts of the world is getting worse.
We need to have these wastewater treatment plants.
Government is carving out localities here and there and releasing all the sewage water into these lakes.
When we analyze all this, the food, constituents of the food had heavy metal.
With biotanks, the sewage water gets recycled. It can be used for different purposes or drained into the ground.
Shipwrecks are a major problem, and airtight international rules are needed to make a difference.
To 10% of a giant ship's weight is made up of asbestos, heavy metals, oil and other toxic substances.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, and we return to our top story. On Bharat Mobility Global Expo, Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier today addressed the gathering there. And joining me is a special guest, Vinkesh Gulati, Chairman, Research and Academy, Federation of Automobile Dealership Association from Delhi. Mr. Gulati, good evening and welcome. Now, Prime Minister in his address calls it a golden period for the mobility sector in India. Now, in terms of the market, in terms of India's production capacity, the workforce and investment in indigenous research and development, how do you see this as an exciting period for the mobility sector in the country?
See, very frankly, if you see what is happening for the past 1 or 2 years, post-COVID time, the auto industry is in a big growth momentum. COVID did pose us a very big problem, but it also supported us in being a catalyst in growing in a great way. The issues of semiconductors are over. The production capacity, which was a hindrance, a big hindrance during the last time, for the past 2 years, it has increased. And the industry, which was going on an average of 3 lakhs per month, now is in a position to even reach 4 lakhs per month. We are already expecting that we'll be doing some 4.2 million cars this month, this year, whereas it was at some below 3 million before. So we are on a very positive mode, and Mr. PM Modi and Pradhan Mantri ji, how he has said, is right on track. The kind of support the current government is giving, direct and indirect, is supporting us in this industry to grow very fast and in the right direction. We are already now number 3, and the way things are growing and the way the global market is in a negative mode, we'll be very fast reaching number 2 and then in number 1 also.
And talking about the demand in the coming days, Prime Minister makes a very interesting reference to the emergence of the new middle class, people who've moved over poverty now. How does this aspirational population, the expanding middle class, augur well for the mobility sector?
So basically, you have got it right. If you see, there had been a lot of momentum in urban markets before, but now slowly and steadily the semi-urban market and the rural market are growing, which is a clear indication that the new middle class, which is coming up, who has aspirations, who want to now, who say that they have already reached. They have a good purchasing power now. Their disposable income has increased for the past 2 years with a lot of support of the government and these schemes what they have put in. Now they are coming out and buying vehicles. So what you have seen, if I start on the two-wheeler front, two-wheeler is seeing around a double-digit growth for the past 2-3 months, and I am hoping this quarter also will see that, which is happening after 2-3 years, which is a big time. And India being the biggest two-wheeler country in world, it also gives a clear indication that we are on the right track. The rural still is not out of the despair, but it has come well, and the positive sense or the growth coming from rural and semi-urban is what is growing the two-wheeler segment and even the car segment also. You see how compact SUV has gained momentum lately, which is 8 to 12 lakh bracket, which is normally bought by these upcoming middle class people or people who have been saving money for the past 2-3 years and now open to spend. And Pradhan Mantri Modi ji had very clearly gave this message that if they have more money in hand, there are 5 things which they go for. And the first thing comes in mind is mobility, starting from a cycle to a car. So the auto industry, which was sitting today when we were listening to him in the Mandapam, he was right on us that you have to lead the Indian economy further from the front.
Mr. Gulati, we must talk about the interim budget. It was presented just yesterday. The provisions like a corpus of 1 lakh crore rupees for indigenous research and development. Then there is historic capex of upwards of 11 lakhs. How do the provisions of the budget have a direct bearing on the sector?
See, what I feel, we are already in a positive momentum and the growth is happening. Even if you have heard about SIAM's report last week, which said that 5 to 7% of cars and around double-digit, high single-digit or double-digit of two-wheelers, which is clearly indicating that we're in the right post. And the government has very strategically added the research thing and the PLIs and the other supports so that in coming days, when the vehicle will be shifting to purely EV or most of EVs, we'll need a lot of research to be done. Like Mr. Modi even had been commented basically, why can't we manufacture battery all put together from here? And slowly and steadily the prices of batteries will come down, which will support EV. So all this research and the strategy, what the current government even hinted towards the budget, obviously there hasn't been any direct benefit to government, to auto industry in this budget. But overall, nothing negative came out of it. And it clearly shows that the government is working on a set direction. So there are no knee-jerk reactions. Whatever OEMs are planning in their increase in capacity, working on alternate fuel, the government is all supporting them. And that is what an industry needs a lot, where we know the government's direction is where the manufacturers also are working, and the future lies there.
And finally, Mr. Gulati, the mobility sector is not all vehicles, two-wheelers, four-wheelers. There's also a human side to it. And Prime Minister talks about the drivers, their ease of living, and also calls upon the private sector to contribute to their training and other areas. How do you see it?
So as I head the Automotive Skill Development Council also as Vice President, we are already working, and Pradhan Mantri Modi ji has already given us a motto of skilling, and driver skilling is a main part what we are working on. Today, what human touch Modi ji gave was really awesome. The way he expressed the support system to the drivers, that was great, because you know the commercial vehicle drivers are actually working day in, day and night for those freight movement, and the freight movement is too much important. So the way he said that highways will have their places where they can rest and eat properly, which is badly needed today. They normally go on dhabas, which are non-hygienic food, and a normal charpai where they rest. If they get a proper place where they can easily rest, so obviously the efficiency of them will go up. The road accidents will go down, because if they have rested well, they'll be very, very on driving cycle. And as Automotive Skill Development Council, we are regularly training them. We have a driver training course which is happening. There are a lot of fleet owners, the transporters also, which are tied up with us, and we train them on how to drive on the road, and even if they are not very active, they should stop and take care about them, and how to handle the kind of pressures they have to handle on the road. So obviously the kind of human touch Pradhan Mantri did that was awesome. The first time ever to a segment of people which are taking the toll for our growth actually.
On that note, Mr. Vinkesh Gulati, thank you for joining us on the News Hour. India's Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade and Commerce and Industry Ministry is organizing PLI Perspectives, a stakeholders meeting under production-linked incentive schemes in New Delhi on Saturday. The objective is to bring all stakeholders from common platform, fostering a sense of ownership to facilitate exchange of knowledge and experiences and good practices, contributing to successful implementation of the PLI schemes. The meeting will offer a platform for industry leaders, experts, government officials to participate in discussion and share perspectives regarding the implications of PLI schemes. This will also enable cross-learning amongst all 14 PLI schemes. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha leader Champai Soran took oath as the Chief Minister of India's northern state of Jharkhand. His swearing in came after Hemant Soren's arrest by Enforcement Directorate. Hemant Soren was sent to 5-day ED custody in connection with money laundering case.
Jharkhand Mukti Morcha's senior leader Champai Soren on Friday became the 7th Chief Minister of India's northern state of Jharkhand. The oath-taking ceremony took place at the Darbar Hall of Raj Bhavan in Jharkhand's capital, Ranchi. Shortly after taking over, the new Chief Minister chaired the cabinet meeting that decided to hold the floor test on February 5.
ये सरकार वो जो सुदूर ग्रामीण क्षेत्र से लेकर शहरी क्षेत्र तक जो वर्षों से ये सरकार के योजना से जो दूरी रखा गया उस काम को जो शुरुआत किया हेमंत सोरेन उसी काम को और तेजी से हम लोग काम करेंगे.
The governor had asked the new chief minister to prove his majority on the floor of the house within the next 10 days. Leaders of the ruling coalition said that the government would seek a trust vote on February 5. As the political turmoil continues in Jharkhand, after the arrest of the former Chief Minister Hemant Soren, the JMM and Congress MLAs from Ranchi reached Begumpet Airport in Hyderabad. Around 43 MLAs had reached Hyderabad in 2 special aircraft. All the MLAs were welcomed by Minister Ponnam Prabhakar, the Congress state in charge Deepa Munshi and other leaders. JMM and Congress MLAs were taken to a resort near Hyderabad. For every 4 MLAs, one caretaker has been appointed by the Telangana Congress. Meanwhile, BJP says that there is nothing right within the alliance in the state.
उन लोगों को अपने विधायकों के ऊपर कोई भरोसा नहीं है, कोई विश्वास नहीं है. उनको लगता है कि अगर यहाँ खुले हम लोग छोड़ दिए, पता नहीं कि विधायक लोग यहाँ से वहाँ कहीं भाग सकता है. जो कि स्वाभाविक है, जिन्होंने 4 वर्षों तक राज्य के लिए कुछ काम नहीं किया हो, तब फिर वैसे लोग क्या करेंगे, उनसे तो घबराएंगे ही ना.
Champai Soren succeeded the party chairperson Hemant Soren, who was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate on Wednesday evening. He has been sent to 5 days ED custody in connection with a money laundering case linked to illegal possession of land. Bureau Report, DD India.
The Indian Air Force will conduct the mega exercise Vayu Shakti 2024 at the Pokhran range in Jaisalmer on the 17th of this month. Over 130 planes, including 77 fighter jets, will take part in this mega Air Force exercise. The Indian Air Force would be showcasing its capability to carry out accurate bombing on targets in the exercise. Vayu Shakti 2024 would be a major firepower demonstration over Jaisalmer, where all the major fighter aircraft, including Rafale, Sukhoi, LCA Tejas, Mirage 2000 and MiG-29s, would be showcasing their firepower by shooting different missiles and bombs at designated targets.
We plan to conduct this exercise Vayu Shakti 2024 to showcase the full spectrum of operations that Indian aerospace power can take on, and it is going to be conducted in a near realistic scenario. What we are ensuring is that it is not only that we are giving practice and showcasing our equipment or the capability of the crew which is operating the equipment, but also we are showcasing how we can take on a task in a coordinated manner.
With the ongoing legal battle over performing puja and Friday mass prayers at Gyanvapi in Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, the entire Gyanvapi complex area has been wrapped tight security by state police and central security agencies. Police and district administration are on high alert since puja was performed at the southern cellar of the Gyanvapi mosque complex on Thursday morning. On Friday, hearing an appeal filed by the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee challenging the Varanasi court order to allow puja. Allahabad High Court refused to grant any immediate relief to the body and adjourned till February 6. Let's take a look at other stories making news. India's President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated the 37th Surajkund International Crafts Mela 2024 in Faridabad, the northern state of Haryana. The fair showcases the richness and diversity of Indian handicrafts, handlooms and the cultural heritage of the country. Around 50 countries are participating in the fair, including Ethiopia, Kenya, Nepal, Russia, Sri Lanka, among others. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar presided over the convocation ceremony of Jawaharlal Nehru University in New Delhi. Speaking on the occasion, Vice President said, "Today, youth have every opportunity to exploit their talent and potential, realize their ambitions and dreams." India's Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia held a meeting with all major airport operators in New Delhi to speed up immigration and security for international travellers. The meeting was also attended by Bureau of Immigration officials and ministry officials. The minister said these initiatives will be key to the government's vision to make India an international aviation hub. India's former President Ramnath Kovind chaired 5th High-Level Committee meeting on One Nation, One Election in New Delhi on Friday. The meeting was attended by former Chairman of 15th Finance Commission N.K. Singh, former Secretary General of Lok Sabha Dr. Subhash C. Kashyap and former Chief Vigilance Commissioner Sanjay Kothari. Time for a short break. Still to come on DD India News Hour. In cricket, Yashasvi Jaiswal's splendid ton powers India to 336 for 6 on day 1 of the second test against England. And Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals set to begin on Friday.
Our modern industrialized world is producing more toxins than ever before. Water quality across several parts of the world is getting worse.
We need to have these wastewater treatment plants.
Government is carving out localities here and there and releasing all the sewage water into these lakes.
When we analyze all this, the food, constituents of the food had heavy metal.
With biotanks, the sewage water gets recycled. It can be used for different purposes or drained into the ground.
Shipwrecks are a major problem and airtight international rules are needed to make a difference.
To 10% of a giant ship's weight is made up of asbestos, heavy metals, oil and other toxic substances.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the UAE Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi on February 14th. The grand structure of pink sandstones will be a key factor in strengthening India-UAE relations. The highly anticipated UAE Hindu Mandir, a magnificent pink sandstone temple, is set to be inaugurated in Abu Dhabi on February 14th this year by Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi. This landmark event marks a significant moment for the UAE, symbolizing its commitment to religious tolerance and cultural diversity. The temple, built by Bochansanvasi Sri Akshar Purushottam Swaminarayan Sanstha or BAPS, boasts of intricate carvings and traditional architecture. It will serve as a spiritual sanctuary for the Hindu community in the UAE, estimated to be over 2 million strong. In the serene desert expanse of Abu Dhabi's Abu Muraikha district, a remarkable structure is emerging from the sands. It transcends the typical attractions found in the region, such as luxury hotels or race car arenas, as it is destined to be a sacred place of worship, serving as a testament to ancient tales and India's rich cultural heritage. The 7 towers representing the Emirates rise proudly on a 27-acre land donated by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of UAE. At 108 feet tall, the temple spires can be seen from afar, a majestic testament to cultural unity. Constructed with pink sandstone from Rajasthan, reminiscent of other Hindu temples globally, it stands apart by avoiding the use of iron, steel or reinforced concrete in its creation. The pathway leading to the temple is adorned with 6 trees imported from the Czech Republic. Along this path, 3 water bodies have been meticulously crafted, symbolically representing the sacred rivers of India, Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. The Babs Hindu Mandir, a testament to timeless craftsmanship. Every carving meticulously handcrafted by skilled artisans from India bring to life the revival of ancient art. Witness the seamless harmony between India and the UAE through the depictions of elephants, camels, Arabian horses and peacocks. The exterior carvings of the temple proudly showcase the artisans' exceptional talent. As you approach, the intricate details become evident. Observe the elephants and you'll notice the realistic depiction of their rough skin carved onto the stone. This tactile experience allows you to touch and feel the artistry, providing a tangible connection. The carvings not only display the individual skills of the artisans, but also symbolize the harmonious relationship between India and the UAE. Step inside and you'll find the interior adorned with Italian marble, providing a cool and serene ambience. The construction itself is a blend of tradition and modernity, utilizing materials that ensure structural longevity and evoke a sense of purity and spirituality. Every intricate carving adorning this temple is meticulously handcrafted by skilled artisans in India. The remaining stones from the temple construction are given to children. They convey messages through these lovely stone paintings, crafting beautiful inscriptions and becoming integral parts of the enchanting journey in building the Babs Hindu Mandir.
The core idea of this temple is harmony. And why we could even imagine this idea? Because of the host country.
As we eagerly await the inauguration on February 14th, the Babs Hindu Mandir in Abu Dhabi stands as a beacon of unity, with themed events following the consecration ceremony. The last-minute works and final touches are being done. MRF has positioned itself as a prominent supplier of aircraft tyres to the Indian Air Force, emerging as the nation's foremost tyre manufacturer catering to defence needs. Following the successful provision of tyres for the Indian defence helicopters, the company has expanded its portfolio to include indigenously developed tyres for Sukhoi 30, MKI and MiG fighters, the highly advanced fighter aircraft in the Indian Air Force fleet. This report comes from our correspondent, Taposh Bhattacharya.
Have you ever wondered which tyre our aircraft use? They land, they use tyres, but what tyres they use? They use MRF tyres. These are actually the example of those tyres being used in Sukhoi as well as in MiG fighter jets. Tell us more about this. You have showcased this tyre here, and we believe these are being used by our defence forces. Give us more detail about that.
Okay, let me give you a little brief. MRF first. MRF is totally an Indian company. We are the only company in India which makes tyres from bullock carts to aircrafts. That means we make the wide range of tyres, and we are original equipment suppliers to everybody. And today, as you have asked, you want to know about aircraft tyres. So let me tell you from where we started. We started in 2009. Slowly we graduated into aircraft tyres, came into Sukhoi. And now, today I'm proud to say that all the MiGs and the Sukhois which Indian defence have are 100% on MRF. So we don't make tyres for commercial aircrafts at the moment. We make tyres only for our defence. And we are a very large supplier, or the only supplier of tyres to HAL. And HAL today even has got service contracts with other countries. And therefore, the tyres have to go, they go through HL.
Azerbaijan was the place where they won the FIA award, and that too back-to-back, if I'm not wrong?
Yeah, this is 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row for a company that's a Make in India, making their name, making their presence felt in outside the country and around the globe. With personally, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
Time now for some action from the world of sports. Let's first talk about cricket. Opener Yashasvi Jaiswal produced an unbeaten 179 to steer India to a commanding 336 for 6 on day one of the second test against England in Visakhapatnam on Friday. The 22-year-old smacked 5 sixes, 17 fours in his career best knock, seemingly unfazed by his batting partner's poor shot selection. Ravichandran Ashwin was keeping Jaiswal company on 5 when stumps were drawn. On a day when India's other frontline batters frittered away good starts, Jaiswal batted aggressively without being reckless. Rohit Sharma's decision to bat left England with the daunting task of batting fourth on a wicket, which promises runs on the first couple of days before spinners start dictating terms. England leads the series 1-0. The Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals are set to begin on Friday with 8 teams competing for a place in the semi-finals. The opening quarterfinal features Nigeria and Angola, first-time encounter in the history of the tournament. The last victory Angola secured over Nigeria was in a World Cup qualifier in June of 2004. Both teams entered this match with strong defensive records. Nigeria has kept clean sheets in 3 out of 4 matches, while Angola has not conceded a goal in their last 2. Angola is pursuing a historic performance in this edition of the tournament. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.